We're starting the recording. This is day 2 of Mod 4. We're starting with Dr. Buffo. Here we go.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, you do that.
That's he was cool. I said, I don't know. Okay, they have a dry erase board.
Oh, I think so.
I'll try it. Because I have to write some lyrics for you guys. Just trying to figure it out.
Right on the wall.
You have a crayon? Okay, because I did fit
I just have to, it's a cork word.
Layout.
Okay.
Kind of like when we used Ganesh for.
Were you there? Were you there?
Disrespectful use of connect.
Nothing. No, we didn't do nothing. We didn't do, especially.
Hillary, somebody asked Larissa what was the most bizarre thing you did. Tell the story about this group that was trying to teach a client how to reverse breathe. She reverse breathe and try to get her to start. She said, I guess we're just the Ganesh. I think you put on the belly, and Mike Ellis and I are looking going, that was us. We were so focused.
So I guess we'll get started in hopes that we might have a dry erase board.
If she doesn't tell me the big one, you want to use
I'll use a little one.
the little one?
Yeah. I can just hold it up in front. Draw some things. Because part of understanding the endocrine system is understanding the hormones and where they work and how they work, and those are kind of chemicals. So I think it's good to kind of see what they look like.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I do not have a marker. Marker?
Oh, yeah, we got tons of them.
Do we have a thicker?
I have fat ones.
I just take a dark like black.
Mine are.
I don't have black.
What is the dark?
That's one color. I wear it. I don't know.
Do I have a black marker? Wait. I have a black marker.
Of course.
I like how this is like really looking at the
Have a
time.
seat. It'll take me a minute to look at it, so have a seat. I'll
Yes.
produce it for you here.
And we don't have black.
If we project, we could manifest it, couldn't we?
Absolutely. All right.
Okay, Hillary,
Yeah.
this is not looking at the slide all the way.
Yeah.
So,
That would be wonderful.
They have the slides,
Okay.
so we've asked them to just have your slides up on your screen, and he'll just tell you which ones, because it's never going to come out really clear on the video. Yeah. Okay.
And it smells like toasted marshmallows.
And so maybe just, yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in the same.
should have been attached.
And you printed from you?
I sent it to Hillary.
Yeah, we forwarded it.
The picture one, that was just all, there was no wording.
We forwarded.
That's how mine came in. I only got 4 pages from it, and everything else was just gray blank, his backdrop. Yeah,
Did anyone get the whole thing?
Charlotte.
Did.
I didn't print mine out. I
Yeah.
didn't print mine because it was so much.
Oh, yeah.
It was gonna take so much ink and I was gonna use.
Yeah.
That's my.
Okay.
Yeah, they can look up there. I think these guys have it. Technology, oh my
Why does it go
God.
to some people and not others?
I don't know, isn't that strange?
I have mine.
So we're here again to learn about some of the mysteries of the human body. So before we get started, why don't we just take a moment and center ourselves. Place your feet firmly on the floor. Align your spine. Relax your shoulders down on the back body. Close your eyes and observe the breath. The in-breath, the pause, the out-breath. Just observe any physical sensation. No judgment. Observe your emotional state. No judgment. Observe any thoughts in your mind. No judgment. Take a deep breath in now and open our first morning session with the sound of a single Om. So inhale. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamayam Vintoma Amritam. Namaste. So I have had the last week and over the last 6 months, I've had the opportunity to be involved with a number of people they've been transitioning from life to immortality. Last week, my best friend passed away from lung cancer, and I happened to go down to visit him in the 4 days before he passed. And an issue that came up this week at work is, how do we as Ayurvedic clinicians deal with the transition from life to death? Well, what is our role and how can we help people? And what I found was that we can really do some fantastic things to help people as they move through that Western medicine just doesn't know how to do. One of the last things that people, as they process, they go through what's known as terminal anxiety. And terminal anxiety is where they start to move their extremities and start to do things like picking. They're not aware of their surroundings. So what it is like the last vestige of Vata trying to hang on to life, and expressing itself in some way. And what I found is there are 3 really positive things and powerful things that we can do to help people that manifest that, to manage it. One is Apyanga, oiling their hands, their face, and their feet. It relaxes the system in ways that's so beautiful. Using aromatherapy, I've found that lavender has worked so well with some of these people. And the other is sound therapy. Because sound is the last sense, to disappear as people are transitioning. And using mantra, chanting, soft music, things that Western medicine would not even go down this path, But it helped transition everyone I've been involved in the last 6 months, transition in such a powerful, beautiful way to calm that terminal anxiety down and allow the Vata to relax and to go internally. So I just thought I'd share that because it's been on the back of my mind. And I think Anusha and I were talking about that. Was it you and I or Erin and I yesterday about talking to our students about the stuff we don't talk about, like how can we be adjuncts and help people in the process of dying? It has nothing to do with endocrinology or endocrine system, but it has something to do with, just kind of a tip and a pointer that we can take home with us because all of us get involved with it, and we're clinicians and people look to us for advice on how to help and make sense of, the terminal events of people's lives. So it was a very powerful experience for me over the last 6 months and learning something from it and now being able to share it with you guys. So that was kind of a prologue to the endocrine. The endocrine system to me is shrouded in mystery because there's so much of it that's still not understood and so many organs that are not classically endocrine but have endocrinological or endocrine-like functions. So since it's shrouded in mystery, I always like to include a component of mysticism and correlating the endocrine system with chakra. And depending on who you read, certain chakras kind of line up with certain of the classical endocrine glands. So if we look at the chart, there are, according to this chart, 7 primary endocrine glands. the adrenals, the gonads, the pancreas, the thymus. Thymus is like Pluto, you know, it's not considered an endocrine gland anymore. It kind of was kicked out of the group. But we're going to kind of keep it in because it has a role in Ayurveda that I think is important. It produces a hormone, thymosin, but you know, as we age, we have less and less thymosin. So, but yeah, think of thymus gland as Pluto. Like, you're not part of us anymore. The thyroid, parathyroid group together because anatomically they're near each other. The pineal and the pituitary. And you know, if you go to Anna D. and Judith's book, now she has the pineal pituitary switched around, and the adrenals and the ovaries switched around. You know, and so, you know, which ones are right, which ones fit. But within a certain framework, I've kind of come to this. So if we look at, you know, the 6th and 7th chakras, pituitary and the pineal gland, Sahasrara and Ajna chakras, the crown and Ajna are intimately linked, you know, and authors fight over these two all the time. The pituitary seems to be linked to intuition and self-realization, and its job is the master gland. It controls most of the other endocrine glands. So it makes sense that it would be considered, you know, the highest one, the crown chakra. And the pineal gland has photoreceptors in it. So it looks like the retina of the eye. So that makes sense that it would be connected with the third eye, the Ajna chakra. However, the pineal is often linked to wisdom. And the wisdom, or the seat of the soul, is linked to the crown. And higher consciousness. And Descartes wrote a lot about the pineal gland and the dissections of the pineal gland and how he felt that people who had their pineal glands, you know, destroyed for some reason or had infections that involved the pineal gland, they were soulless people. They didn't have conscience. And the fact that psychosis and depression correlate with a weak pineal gland also suggests that it has a lot to do with wisdom and control. You know, there's a hormone that's produced by the pineal gland, and it's the only psychoactive substance in the human body, DMT, that produces hallucinations. You know, and it has some correlation with higher meditative states. You can see levels of DMT increase in people who go into deep meditation, you know, who have visions, you know, or have auditory hallucinations. And people who have had near-death experiences, you know, and hallucinations have high levels of DMT. And so Descartes might have been right that maybe the pineal gland is the entryway to the soul. So the two of them, in terms of chakra mystery, kind of get intertwined a little bit. The thyroid is adjacent to the vocal cords, so that's Vishuddha. It's, you know, the throat chakra. And it governs independence, fluid thought and speech, and you're speaking your own truth. You know, having your own truth come out. And when the thyroid is overactive, when the parathyroids are overactive, you can be a poor listener, be domineering. The fourth, the thymus, the anahata chakra, is the heart, thymus junction. And it's the junction between the subtle and the gross chakras. So the subtle chakras above, the gross chakras below. Therefore, it's the site of complex emotions because this is admixing, you know, of manifestation and liberation. Somewhere in between, the emotions, you know, need to be sorted out, and that's where it happens. The focus is on compassion, tenderness, love, equilibrium, well-being, and it's related to the immune system. You know, the immune system, the thymus gland. Manipura is the seat of the pancreas, and specifically the islets of Langerhans, where the endocrine hormone insulin is produced. And it's the site of personal power, opinion formation, introversion, expansiveness, fear, and anxiety. And then the first two chakras, the gonads and the adrenals, sometimes are flipped again. They both govern relationships. The adrenals do produce the precursors of the hormones for the gonads, so they're intimately related. They can be the source of violence, addiction, emotional needs, but also pleasure and enthusiasm. And at the same time, the base ones, the root chakra, is the source of survival, basic human potentiality, and survivability. So just kind of looking at it in one framework, looking at it from the mystical perspective, and how it relates to our subtle body. I think the endocrine system has been linked for millennia, to the chakra system and how our psychoactive substances really do change us. So now let's go back to Western medicine. And the endocrine system, the word endocrine is from two roots, endo meaning within, and crine meaning separate or to distinguish. And as opposed to the exocrine system, EXO, which means outside. Outside. So how are they? Endo means within, exo means outside. So it comes from within, and exo comes from outside. And crine means separate or distinguish. So can anyone think of what an exocrine gland would be? Sweat gland, sebaceous gland, salivary glands, and the distinction anatomically between the endocrine and the exocrine gland is that the exocrine glands produce peptides, enzymes, that are created and then move through a duct or a tube or a schrotas, to an outlet somewhere. So the salivary glands produce saliva, which is a whole host of enzymes, essentially hormones, that move through the salivary ducts and enter the mouth. Excuse me. The difference between the endocrine glands then is they don't have ducts. They don't have these tubes that deliver their chemical messengers outside. What they have is they have a rich vascular network that surrounds every one of these glands, and the active peptides, the enzymes they produce, the hormones they produce are delivered directly into the vascular system. So while they don't have ducts, they have a really rich vascular system around them. So each one of the endocrine glands have a lot of blood vessels. They take a lot of the cardiac output. So if you put them all together, all the endocrine glands take up about 25% of the cardiac output. That's a quarter of what the heart does, the amount of blood flow to these glands. Particularly the thyroid is an incredibly vascular organ. I know I biopsied a few times and it was like, whoa, there's a lot of that. The other thing that makes them different from exocrine glands is that the active substances, the peptides, the hormones, are stored in little cysts within their structure known as vacuoles. So they make the hormone and they store them. You can imagine glands, cell of the gland, looking something like this. And it has all these little storehouses of hormone that come up to the surface, and you have your rich blood supply here, and open up and kind of exvaginate or release the hormones into the blood system. So they have vacuoles.
I don't think she has the chalk yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, I got so excited.
Could be happening.
I'm half excited. I'll save the other half when the chalk gets here. The other comparison we like to make with the endocrine system is that it has physiological effects that are oftentimes very similar to the nervous system. But the distinction between the two is that the nervous system is rapid initiation and short duration of activity. So the active substances the nervous system releases, the acetylcholine and the neurotransmitters react fast, and they initiate quickly and rapidly turn over, as opposed to the endocrine system, which is a slow initiation and a prolonged response. So they work in similar ways, but slightly different physiologically. So there are 7 dedicated endocrine glands, which you see here, excluding, can you hit
And you want to go to another one. This is for them online.
That's the slides?
Yeah.
Okay,
the
sure.
Slides for them.
Yeah.
Actually, I can then move this closer, I think, to
Okay.
you.
But before we dive into each one of these glands and talk about them specifically, let's talk about the endocrine-like glands that function in the body that are as more, or as at least as powerful and as important as these. The first is the bones. The bones produce a hormone that's known as thrombopoietin. Thrombopoietin. And what that does is it creates platelets. It's a platelet developer. And if I had the blackboard, I would write it for you.
Stole it from the. Ah, that's so
Bar.
Oh, perfect. So sweet.
Thrombopoietin, writing backwards.
Oh, it's the other side.
Oopsie.
Okay.
That's all right.
It's just
This is like so fun.
This is fun.
like camping. Let's do a show in the barn.
Actually, we'll have to do it over here.
We're not going to see it from here.
They won't see it.
Okay.
I'll take pictures.
Yeah, we gotta take pictures anyway. So here you go.
Great.
Colored chalk too.
I love it.
I've never seen this before. What color would you like?
Let's start with the lid.
Mm.
Very well.
Wow.
Probably doesn't there's
Thank you.
Now,
Yeah.
Vi.
Okay.
Okay, so the bones produce hormones. The most prominent one is thrombopoietin, and its function is to enable the bone marrow to make platelets. And platelets are essential because they're one of the important clotting factors of the body. The second is the kidney. And the kidney produces two hormones. One is erythropoietin, so like thrombopoietin, except the erythro prefix. Erythro means red blood cell former. So the kidney produces a hormone that enables red blood cells to be formed. But a more important hormone it produces is renin. So the renin is a really important in this way. And I'll draw kind of a Venn diagram for you. The liver also produces a hormone that's known as angiotensinogen. Angiotensinogen. Then this renin acts on angiotensinogen from the kidney to produce angiotensin 1. Which, by the action of a hormone from the lung, known as angiotensin conversion enzyme, produces angiotensin 2, which acts on the adrenal glands to make aldosterone. So the reason I took the time to draw this is just to show you that in order to get to a final hormone, aldosterone, which is a hormone that's used to maintain your blood pressure by retaining sodium in the kidneys, the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and the adrenals are involved in a stepwise direction, to create the hormone. And there are several intermediary hormones in between there that each of those organs produce. So it's kind of a really beautiful and elegant pathway to make one hormone. But the problem is, if you have an abnormality at any one of these levels, you're not going to be able to make that last hormone. So if your liver is failing, if you have cirrhosis, you're not going to be making angiotensinogen. But if your liver is working and your kidneys are failing, you're not going to be making renin, which would convert it to angiotensin 1. Likewise, if you have lung problems, if you have emphysematous and your lungs aren't working right, you won't have angiotensin converting enzyme. And if your renal cortex is failing, as we see in a lot of people nowadays who have adrenal starvation and adrenal fatigue and adrenal stress, you won't be making aldosterone. So from an Ayurvedic perspective, it could be anywhere along this line, and we can actually intervene at any place along this line in order to help people move down. So it's kind of an interesting forward pathway.
And we were talking last night, so it would be considered a Datu disruption somewhere along the line.
It's exactly the same type of path. Yep. Exactly the same type of path.
So if you have kidney dialysis, do you get to still produce after dialysis? Or they're taking stuff off, putting stuff in?
Now, what happens if if you're on dialysis and your kidneys are failing, you're not making erythropoietin or rennet, and oftentimes you're getting both of those as adjunctive hormones to kind of keep this Datu path moving. Because you need to have this at the end.
And if you were taking a kidney transplant and if you don't have anything else, if everything else is functioning above that, if you take a kidney transplant.
Then you're good.
Okay.
Because that kidney is going to make those hormones.
Okay.
And you don't need ducts. It's just going to hook up to the blood system because they have this rich investiture of the vascular supply. So, and Anush and I talked about how Datu and Agni are endocrinological. And this is a really nice example of, the stepwise progression of one Datu to the next all the way down. It makes sense? Yeah.
And the
Aldosterone.
what are those functions?
Well, when we talk about the adrenal gland, its functions are to maintain the blood pressure and blood volume. So what it does is it retains sodium, in the urinary tract. What?
They do physiology on straight line on.
It's looking to raise very